Played on the same five-a-side team as him because Cecil Poynton used to love seeing people get stuck into each other, and that used to happen to Mackay and myself most mornings. But he was just a fantastic footballer.
I've got to be the winner. It doesn't always work, but same in the gym and things like that. I go crazy with tackling and things like that.
To play against, it was a nightmare. I mean, because he was so good. I mean, I've even said, and I'll say now, Bill Nichols said it was the best buy he ever made. I was disappointed because Ralphie Coates thought he was going to be the best buy that Bill ever made, or I thought I was going to be the best buy. But he stuck with Dave Mackay, which I fully agree with. I think he was the best all-round footballer I've ever seen. He could play in any position. He even played in goal for Scotland once for half an hour, never let a goal in.
A man who needs no introduction, quite simply a goal machine.
Greaves, score!
Jimmy started his career at Chelsea, becoming one of only a handful of players to play successfully for both London sides.
Ball sideways, Greaves! Oh, and a hat-trick for Greaves in his last appearance.
But his move to Spurs was punctuated by a brief spell in Italy with Giants AC Milan.
Well, it's reported this morning that you're not going back to Italy, is that true?
No, not at the moment. I'm definitely booked a passage to go back on Friday.
And you're certainly going back, are you?
Well, I'm booked to go back, certainly.
Greaves refuses to say that he's definitely going back to Milan, only that he's booked to return. And the rumours persist that the 21-year-old star has played his last game in Italy.
How do you feel about the prospects of possibility playing for Spurs?
Well, they're the finest team in Great Britain and one of the best in the world. I would love it very much.
Jimmy started as he meant to go on at Spurs, scoring a hat-trick on his debut. Just 3 of the 266 goals he would go on to score for Spurs.
Brilliant natural player. Not a particularly good trainer. Never has been. Same as like Alan Gilzean. On the road runs early doors, pre-season. The last 2 in were Alan Gilzean and Jimmy Greaves. But the top 2 on the Saturday were Jimmy Greaves and Alan Gilzean. So what do you say to them? Hey, back up your ideas and start training a bit harder.
He was probably one of the laziest footballers I've ever seen, but you put up with that because he was such a great player.
That was all he wanted to do, was score goals. He didn't really want to play well. All he wanted to do was put the ball in the back of the net, and he did that sort of better than anybody I've ever seen, and also a fantastic, a terrific character.
Hurst, and a beautiful goal by Greaves.
Bill Nicholson once said, and got very fed up with Jimmy, and said to Danny Blanchflower, he only scores goals. And Danny said, well, isn't that rather the point of the game? That's just, it may be apocryphal, but you could hear it happening. Wonderful, wonderful player. Scored on every debut of his career at all levels.
And away goes Greaves, a lovely bit of footwork by Greaves. And that's it, 1 to Spurs.
I can't think, sure there were people that around at that time, people like Dennis Law that could score goals and this, but I don't think there was anybody better than Greavesy. I think the first 3 months I thought he was the luckiest footballer I'd ever seen, because people would be miss-hitting shots. They'd be going 25 yards wide and it would go straight to him and he'd knock it in the back of the net. But then I found out it wasn't. He just read the game much quicker than everybody else.
Goals were Jimmy's lifeblood, but it wasn't just a case of towing them in from 2 yards. He also scored some quite breathtaking goals.
Greaves changing direction so well. Oh, beautiful football. What a great goal. Fabulous goal.
Yeah, it was me that passed it to him. Okay, well, tell us. Not really, no. Cancel that. You've got to say that, haven't you? Maybe it was.
One feels that even with the crowd on the pitch, he could have put this one in net.
1 against 1 with the goalkeeper, it was a goal. Jimmy Greaves. Anybody else, 50-50. Anybody. But Jimmy Greaves, unbelievable he was. 1 against 1, that's a goal. You could turn your head away and not even look at it. And you hear the crowd roaring because he scored the goal. He was absolutely brilliant 1 against 1. The best I've ever seen.
Jim was just a terrific lad, and when you're talking about goal scorers, he's the greatest goal scorer there's ever been and ever will be.
The greatest Spurs player is about to be revealed, but let's recap from 10 down to 2. Number 10 is UEFA Cup winning goalkeeper Pat Jennings. At number 9, double winning striking sensation Bobby Smith. Number 8 is the Welsh wizard of the 60s, Cliff Jones. Ozzy Ardiles, the Argentine World Cup winner, is at number 7. Number 6 is Bill Nick's favourite player, Ron Burgess. Appearance record holder Steve Perryman is at 5. At number 4 is the midfield sensation Glenn Hoddle. Number 3 is the rock at the heart of the double winning team, Dave Mackay. And number 2 is the goal machine, Jimmy Greaves. And so this leaves us with number 1, the player you voted the greatest of all time for Spurs.
Yes, it's Spurs again, still on top.
He was, to me, the perfect captain.
Where he was such a great one-touch player, two-touch player, beautiful strike of a ball, lovely pass of the ball.
Danny taught me nearly everything I know, really, about the game.
And he was a tremendous captain as well. Everybody respected him.
Yeah, he was a little older than most of us, so he was like a father figure, you know. But I mean, he was a great captain. He was the chap that you would go to if you wanted to have a chat about different things. What do you think of him playing out? You know, are we doing this right now? Are we doing that? Whatever. And he'd always have an answer for you. That helped the double side a lot by having him as a captain.
He had a lot of ability as well, Danny. A good passer. Doesn't matter how bad a game he was having. If he was playing poorly, he still wanted the ball. And he always believed if you're a good player and plenty of the ball, you do good things, and he was right.
I've always been sort of an adventurous player anyway. But I could just do what I want to do. Get up, maybe get up too far, but I know he's always there in midfield, looking after the defensive side of it. So it gives me all the freedom that I want.
The double-winning captain, Bill Nicholson's leader on the field and the central figure of the greatest Spurs team. Danny Blanchflower is without doubt a great of the game, and his inclusion at number 1 is testament to his ability and legacy at the club.
But he was a supremely gifted player, an extremely interesting and intelligent man. I mean, I can't think of another captain in the time that I've been watching football who would change things around, do things during the course of a match.
I think he just thoroughly deserves to be number 1 on the list. He was an extraordinary footballer for his time.
I think Blanchflower did more than just lead by example. I mean, he exuded authority on the pitch. He was a very good user of the ball. Possibly not the greatest tackler in the world, certainly not in the Mackay tradition, but it was just his ability to be able to read the game and to see what was happening, particularly in going forward.
Then Oslislow brought Smith down. Penalty. Danny Blanchflower took the kick.
Danny had this extraordinary sparkle, and when he spoke about football, it was fascinating because he was an absolutely brilliant captain of Northern Ireland, of course.
I would probably put him as a midfield player in probably the world's top 10 quite easily.
So there we have it, the greatest 50 players to pull on a Spurs shirt, and a great man at number 1, a player who knew what it meant to walk out at White Hart Lane and play for Tottenham Hotspur, as did all the players in the list. It's fitting that the great man explained the ethos of Spurs football perfectly.